Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man trying again, third try, and I think I know why things went sideways. I'll wait till people get in the live stream. I had to put those two videos to private, uh, and I used a word in my thumbnail picture that might. This happened to me before when I used something that was not liked by the rhythm. The rhythm is gonna get you. So it got me, and people get in. I will explain what I'm talking about. White Lightning says 5x5. Miss Bendersue, how you doing? Flannel Cheese, Sissy, Sherry. Ha ha! Now we got 5x5. Well, I'll tell you what's it's a number of factors. Let me tell you one of them. Remember, some of you folks that have been with me for a while, remember I put up a thumbnail picture of Engoron with a big bozo wig. And every time I use that thumbnail, my broadcast was choppy. Okay? I think I put a picture of it on my community page. No, I think I didn't because I didn't want to get in trouble. You notice my thumbnail, even though I put it on private. What did it say? MARX, right? IST, Karl Marx, and then IST, operatives. And I should have used a lowercase L instead of an I, and it wouldn't have got picked up by the rhythm. And I think that's why I got in trouble. And they just push a button and you're suppressed or not shown around or broken up. Now, my title is acceptable to the rhythm because it is talking about a psyop that everybody is wanting to push on the Dem side, and that's called Project 2025. And they don't know whether I'm going to talk good about it, bad about it, whatever. But I can tell you what it is. It ain't no good. And it is a example. Not only do we have to deal with all the marks and then ists that I was talking about, we got to deal with them on the Rhino side too. They're trying to make us look bad. Tuco, KNS, how you doing? Mr. Kibler, Tennessee. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm back, Miss Bendersue, back. Television shows, Diane, David, Debbie, Flannel Cheese. Everybody's rolling in. And what I said in my last broadcast, I said, if you're out there and you just don't like Donald Trump, or, if you're really lost as a liberal, if you think it's okay to for teachers to come up to kids and start, don't tell your parents, but we're going to give you some new clothes and you can, if you agree with that stuff, just, you don't belong here. Go clean your filthy soul, as Padre Pio said, and then come back. Come back then, but please don't pester us with that stuff. But anyway, if you're not totally gone in your brain and want to find out what's going on, because as I was saying, I was getting broken up. I don't want to. I don't want to say you might learn something. I'm going to say, because that's condescending. A lot of people say, here, be quiet, because you might learn something. No, I don't mean to come across that way to people. I want to say you might find out some things. You might find out some things. What do I mean by that? You got your friends, co-workers, family members that you're at odds with. I know a lot of people in my chats feel that way. But this business with Joe is a good example. I put in my thumbnail, change Joe. I don't mean just for the presidency, okay? I'm wondering who's got diaper duty. Before I get into all this stuff about Project 2025, let me tell you that did you all see Carrie Lake give an interview? We haven't heard from her in a while. She gave an interview that was very telling. How you doing, Angela? Yeah, I'm back in the YouTube saddle. Debbie, how you doing? Okay, so did anybody see Carrie Lake? That medical emergency, all signs are pointing to Joe stinking up the whole situation there with the interview, and they didn't want the press to know about it. He has had a history for a long time of just losing it, and you all know what I'm talking about. Losing control of his bowels. Hi, Hebrew. How you doing? And the point I'm getting at is that most of the people in these chats have known that for years. We've known Joe has been on a mental decline. And as I have said in the past, at the risk of repeating myself, it's a 5 to 7 year process on average for someone to go through the process of the illness of dementia. And there's different types of dementia, yes, but it's not exactly clockwork. 10 years is the outside. Reagan went on a 10-year outside from the time of his formal diagnosis. He made it 10 years. That's a very, very outside. And that was almost 10 years after he left office from when he was diagnosed. So Joe has been exhibiting signs that we've all known about and that these liars and operatives have been covering up for the last, I'll say, 5 years, 3 or 4.5 years from the time of the election cycle last time around. So, if you're on the outside looking in or just, trying to say, what am I going to do? I can't vote for Biden. I don't like Trump. I don't like teachers whispering to kids and having a second set of clothes at school for 9-year-olds. Okay. What am I going to do? Well, you might find out some things during broadcasts like this. And if you want to come in and ask questions, feel free. I'm not going to say anything bad to you. Nobody in the chats are going to say anything mean to you. There's a lot more we know about besides Joe having dementia. And they're brushing up on their words like Parkinson's related dementia, muscular, neural, this and that, kind of trying to set the stage for, well, this is more like something that, what's the guy that played in Back to the Future? Michael J. Fox. That's more what it's like. It's not like it just hit him like out of the blue. No, they're trying to cover their rear ends. They know Biden has not been running the country, that he's a puppet. They know that he's not been competent. They are operatives, and they've been doing a psyop, and they got caught big time. So don't fall for these candy ASS diagnoses that don't hit the nail on the head. Joe's got probably a couple of years so on this earth, and how they're going to take care of him. If you had a loved one, you certainly wouldn't be putting them through this. And they're caught. And you have to be honest with yourself. I'm talking to people on the other side, people who may just want to check out. Why should I stop being, I can't use the word HATE, okay? Why should I stop feeling that way about Trump? Because everything else fits the same pattern of deceit. Lie, hide, cover up, drill a narrative, same thing. We've seen Joe have notes in his hand and still screw up for years. We've known about Joe going to the bathroom on himself for years, in public, in meetings. And these people knew about it. They knew about what happened on Air Force One, why reporters were not allowed near Biden. And they're lying. George Stephanopoulos, I had a clip I was going to play you all today. And for curious people, get a load of this. I had a clip, and what I might do is put it in a short video and then post it on this channel. A clip of George Stephanopoulos interviewing Trump about roughly 3 years ago, maybe. And he said, "Is there anything you regret?" to Donald Trump. Donald Trump said, "Oh, yeah, there's plenty of things I regret. Well, I bet you have things you regret." And while he was talking, as they all do, they're interrupting. While Trump was answering, he's going, name something. So Trump said, "Oh, I'll name something. I bet you regret when you gave money to the Clinton Foundation." I wish the camera was on George Stephanopoulos' face. And Trump said, "You almost went over the edge." And man, that's when I really wish the camera was on George Stephanopoulos' face. And he said, "I wish you wish you could take that back," is what he said to George Stephanopoulos. And then I put a picture up of the Fox News report that I put up a number of times. Inspector General report, okay? Clinton Foundation, Haiti, crimes against children. Let me find it. Here it is. Inspector General report, page 294, in big bold print on Fox News. And it says, Wiener, yeah, texting 15-year-old, initial analysis of laptop, that would be the Huma, Huma, okay, laptop, thousands emails, and then in circled in red, Hillary Clinton and Foundation crimes against children. So that's what he reminded George Stephanopoulos of. We didn't get to see George's face. And I got a copy of that video and I put a picture of the Fox News report, and it's going to come back. A lot of things are going to come back. Now, a lot of you may be wondering what my thumbnail says, why I'm saying a new surprise. What's a new surprise? There's going to be a number of surprises. Well, what happened with Joe at the debate was a huge surprise, not to us, but for millions of people who have been following the narrative, many for their entire lives. Young voters who were in their 20s never doubted the people I had on the screen for my thumbnail. Now they're getting a little bit of shock. They're coping with it. They're making excuses. They're rationalizing. They're listening so very hard to these so-called newscasters who are saying, well, it's because of this. Well, it's because of that. He had a cold. He had cold medicine. It's all discredited by good doctors, all bunk. It is classic dementia. It doesn't happen overnight. He's gotten past the ability, not totally, but they can't titrate the medicine, which is tune it up, adjust it properly. He has functioned somewhat coherently, but it is getting to the point where he's not going to be able to be left alone and function. So what's his name? The one I call Lord Haw on MSNBC. Lawrence. I forget his first name. He actually had the nerve on a video to say the next debate should be exactly how a president functions. He should be permitted to have his staff with him during the debate, and you get to hear. The people should hear how the staff interact and the suggestions they put forth for every question, and how the president or president-to-be responds to his staff, and how they formulate a decision for each question that is asked. I'm not kidding you, folks. He was suggesting Biden brings staff members and Trump brings staff members, and they all participate in a flipping debate, and that's supposed to be normal. And I'm not making fun of Joe, but he'll be sitting there with his mouth hanging open. Just like with that speech he gave in the White House lawn, where they had code words, the roads are blocked, the roads are blocked. He said it. That's them telling me I need to stop talking. They're telling me I'm going to lose a lot of votes if I keep talking. So he's got an earpiece in. So anyway, the Roos's shot knee rear end is over. If you're surprised, don't be next time, especially as we discuss other things. But the surprise, one of the surprises that I would take seriously, not in a bad way, was what Viktor Orban said. He said he's going to announce a new surprise. He met with Putin today. That's technically yesterday in Ruski land. After meeting with Zelensky, in private talks with Zelensky, after Orban met with Zelensky, Zelensky put out a statement that he's willing to discuss a ceasefire without demanding return of land from Putin. And Zelensky also said he would like to know what Trump wants to do. This is after a huge shakeup in the Zelensky air quotes government, because as we know, either him or the people lording over him, sound familiar, canceled the elections, and he has an illegitimate government, but I'll still call it a government. So according to him, Viktor Orban's new surprise will be a trip. The location of which has not yet been named. The Hungarian Prime Minister stated this in an interview with a reporter from the Swiss newspaper Die Wellwoche on board a plane from Moscow to Baku. So he's going to announce a new surprise, and it's in the form of a trip. The reporter said, well, that Orban was quoted as saying, European bureaucrats will never bring peace. This requires the political will of a statesman politician, but not an official. A likely allusion to Trump. So when is this visit going to occur? The reporter is speculating, saying it's a likely allusion to Trump. We know Orban has met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago in the past. We see Zelensky softening up. What's the surprise going to be? Then Axios came out today and said Joe Biden would be out by the end of the week. I don't know if that's going to play into this visit or not. I don't know how much you can trust Axios. But the cancellations of support and donations to the Biden-Harris campaign is enormous. They're already $70 million behind the Trump campaign. So you get people like I talked about the other night, Disney, the founder of Netflix, that other entrepreneur that's worth billions, and Bloomberg, who gave 20 million, who spent $1 billion on his own campaign back in 2019. That is at least 5 people I just mentioned that are worth, to these types of campaigns, hundreds of millions, and they're out. Bloomberg may not be, I don't know, but we'll see. So this is going to be a big week, one way or the other. And we're going to keep on having big weeks. It may be just big weeks of anticipation, speculation, but the world is watching. What's happened in Europe is jaw-dropping. What happened in the UK elections? How does that happen? What happened in France? How does that happen? The conservatives get a huge win for Le Pen, or whatever her name, Marie Le Pen, and they lose control of Parliament. The UK, historic gains by politicians who are outwardly saying we're going to increase immigration, bring them here. What country would vote to destroy itself in that manner? I watched an interesting video from a young man who's over there in France. And he said, people can see there's something wrong. And what he's pointing out is their parliamentary system, and I talked about it briefly, is so fractured with so many different factions what they ended up with was an alliance of, if it was in America, it would be crazy liberals forming an alliance for majority with Republican never Trumpers. That is about the most similar thing I can describe it as. But the European parliamentary system, France and UK, Italy is not as vulnerable, but France and UK, their system is broken. It's too easily gamed by what I call malcontents. Malcontents. Look it up. It's an important word. That's what we're dealing with. Marxist malcontents. So we have a two-party system. It's this one or that one. And we're at a point in our civilization where that's pretty much what it's boiling down to. You can't be half nuts, okay, and say you're okay, politically speaking. Oh, we'll only be half crazy. And what the hard left, the loony bin left, is proposing for our society to have, which is akin to infanticide, a 9th month and after. As I said, whispering to 9-year-olds and 8-year-olds and having spare clothes at school, having men going to women's prisons and men in sport. No, you can't be halfway with that. But if we had a 3-party system or 4-party, you could get the malcontents, the never Trumpers, to jump ship and go with the loonies and neutralize the majority of people because they don't give a damn. If unfettered immigration destroys the culture, the language, the system, overburdens the system, destroys the system, they don't care. The malcontents don't care. They'll never be happy. And the last thing they want, as we've discussed many broadcasts ago, the last thing a liberal wants is somebody else having a little more fun out of life than they're having. And as we can tell, that ain't a whole hell of a lot of fun because they're miserable damn people. So that's what happened over in Europe. And what his analysis is, he brought up something that I brought up, and I haven't heard anybody else bring it up. He said that Trump is the key, not just in the American election, but the European political situation. And he said, no matter what they do, and now this is him saying it, not me, this French political analyst, he said, no matter what they do with Trump, it's a win-win. He said, because if Trump wins, he's going to lead the way for change that Europe will be on board with, and they can't stop it. He said, if he loses, it can only be by dishonest means that is so evident it's going to wake people up. Or if they, this is me interjecting, God forbid, but he did bring up, if they harm him, like they did JFK, and end it, okay, unalive him, the world would wake up. and be outraged. I'd rather have the world wake up and be outraged without that. But he said also if they win by dishonest means, that's so rank and open that people will be outraged. So let me look at the chats here. So Viktor Orban's going to come over, and he is the leader or the spark in Eastern Europe that is doing make Europe great again, not just Hungary. Yeah, they're having a fundraiser because what's his name is Newscum is coming to Florida, and Trump's going to have a fundraiser at the same time, and we'll see a huge difference in participation. You can believe that. Hi, Tank. How you doing? I'm trying to see what the first part of what you're saying. Who are you talking about, Tank? Oh, Zelensky. Yeah, if you use words like EXE, okay, cuted, you can't for trust and safety, at least on my channel. So do me a favor, Tank, and use 4s for A's and 3s for E's on touchy words, and go ahead and take that comment down for me. I appreciate it, Tank. Diane says tomorrow. I heard it was by the end of the week. They can't just yank him out of there overnight. We're going to hear all kinds of stuff. Jet lag, how you doing? Angela, yeah, see how she spelled conser and then vative with a 3 as a E. That's the way you do it. And how she spelled that J3WS from Israel. David, how you doing? I bet he does say that. That's right, KNS. You're talking about over in Europe, illegals, okay, immigrants voting over in Europe. You better believe it, because they're bold-faced about it. And how that's not construed as a betrayal to your country is insane. Anybody that tells you that the millions, tens of millions of people coming across this border voting is okay, they are not worth talking to. If I'm faced with somebody that tells me that, I would just politely tell them, you are flawed in your logic, and until you straighten that out, I really don't want to have a discussion with you. That's beyond ignorant, and ignorant is not a slur. Ignorant means uninformed. Yeah, Gateway Pundit Lori said Friday, and Axios said Friday. Yeah, he's okay, and so am I, Angela. I'll put that on the screen. I'm okay, and so am I. Me too. Old Bummer's got his mentors. Raven's Wings, how you doing? Well, Obama went down to Downing Street. Remember that video I showed of him getting out of the car and nobody Nobody knows what that's about. And nobody asked a damn question about it. That's how you know this is corrupt journalism, that there are nothing but operatives. Stephanie, how you doing? Tank, I don't know. What letter? No, I'm saying when you use, I will say this word one time. You put in the word executed, okay? That KILL, GUN, all those kinds of words, the rhythm picks up. It's not me. What do you? Debbie King, take your post down. Listen, Tank, I'm trying to explain to you. I don't want you in here arguing with people in the chats. I want you to understand so you can discuss things with us. So you know, bigger channels don't have this problem. Little channels like me do. Where they see too many certain words. You talk about, I heard that Biden will be gone tomorrow. She used a 1 and a 3 for his name. I don't know what you're talking about, Debbie. I didn't see anything wrong with anything Debbie put up at all. She used a 1 and a 3 for Biden's name. We're chat farting here and I'm losing my train of thought. All I'm saying is you can't put words like that have anything to do with harming. That's all. And Debbie, I didn't see anything Debbie put up that was a problem. You have to think like somebody who wants any excuse to shut down a channel like mine. They would take words that are in normal usage and say, oh, they're talking about EXE cute people. That's what they talk about. Take them down. That's the way they do. But anyway, I was talking about Kari Lake. And Kari Lake said, well, we know one thing for sure. This was posted today. I think she said it last night. They were talking about Biden. She said, Biden's back in diapers. And I ought to get a clip of that, but no, Z isn't a problem at all, Tank. Not at all. I know what you mean. Who you mean? I know what you mean. I was talking about the words that they can make excuses. But anyway, that tells me that Biden blew his bowels out. That's why the press got taken off of Air Force One. Somebody told Laura Loomer it was a medical emergency. That's what she reported. Okay. And after what Kari Lake said, that he's back in diapers, that tells me what happened. None of the reporters confirmed or denied the Air Force One story about them being kept away. None of them said, no, that's not true. We saw him on Air Force One. Yeah, everything was fine. Nobody said that. Because they're covering up. And I think it happened at the end of the interview with Stephanopoulos. Because you saw the awkward way that thing ended. But I'll tell you another thing. Well, that would not surprise me. I'm not saying it's true. But if that was some rubber face actor, high level psyop, Okay, operative. He may have done that on purpose. Because we know we're watching the show. And then watch how George Stephanopoulos, who isn't in on the whole game, how he reacts and how they cover it up. Wouldn't it be something if, like Trump said, we got all the footage of the interview and you see everybody going, oh my God, what is that? Oh my. And Jill coming up, come on, Jill, let's go change your pants. And it's on tape. And we find out that they hid it from us. You know, a high-level operative would act if they're told, you go ahead and, use the bathroom in your drawers. Hey, well, there you go. Right in front of George Stephanopoulos. You make sure you do it. And eat a lot of beans and tuna and onions and let her rip. Because we're talking about a worldwide, saving civilization from a bunch of criminals that are entrenched. Debbie, I didn't see you do anything wrong, honey. Nothing wrong. I just think Tank thought something else and now he understands. So we're all on the same page. Im, how you doing? Richard, how you doing? And I appreciate people being careful. And it's kind of fun to figure ways to spell words that the machine can't figure out what we're talking about, but we know, like P3 and then DO. We know what that means, right? Joe P3DO. And they'll catch on to that in the future, right? So, all right, Richard. Yeah, just enjoy the show. So anyway, I am really looking forward and going to be paying attention to what Viktor Orban is going to do. Now, this Project 2025. You all remember about a week ago, I first mentioned Project 2025. You guys are my witnesses. I said, be careful of that Project 2025. That is not Mr. T. He's doing Agenda 47. Vouch for me, you all remember. And then I mentioned it again night before last and the night before that briefly. What happens? They activate. Midas Trash Network putting out stuff. This guy, I didn't watch his video, but Tyrone Magnus. What is this? Project 2025 reaction. Midas Trash Network saying conclusive evidence Trump knew all about Project 2025. I had a video queued up where the president of Heritage Foundation was on a talk show and he said, we're going to have a second American Revolution and the only way it won't be BLOODY is if the left makes sure it's not. If it is BLOODY, right, it's because the left does something. What the hell is he talking about? That's a rhino operation. to bring Agenda 47. It's a 900-page document. People like Bill Kristol, Karl Rove, this nitwit that's president of the Heritage Foundation, cooked up without consulting with the Trump campaign, without approval of the Trump campaign, and writing things out. As I have said, it's not what you say, sometimes it's how you say it. And they're saying things that would cause concern for the average person. We're heading into a second American Revolution. It's only going to get, and I'll say it one time, bloody, if the left causes it too. That is a threatening tone. In their 900 page, they have other allusions like that. And remember what I was discussing about European politics? When the malcontents unify, when the rhinos hook up with a totally loony left, that's what they're trying to do. It is Agenda 47. So Mr. T puts out a tweet or truth. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they are saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. So now everybody is putting out these videos. He knew all about it, showing him shaking hands with this same character I was just talking about. So that's going to be like them showing 30-year-old, 40-year-old pictures of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. I think there's like two pictures that they show over and over again, even though Trump is the only reason Epstein got rearrested and put in jail. His illegal plea deal got thrown out because of Trump. So they're showing him shake hands with this neocon. Because I'll tell you what, if the Heritage Foundation wanted to help Trump, they would have been working with the Trump campaign, Agenda 47, about the free education with college credits, okay? All the way up to a bachelor's degree. Trump did a video on it. He posted it on Truth. He typed up, or a truth was typed up concerning just that one program. Not a peep from anybody. They're busy pounding out a 900-page something that's got shadows of Mein Kampf in it. And then if you don't go along with it, you're not a patriot. So they're no damn good. And they're never Trumpers. And I put out a truth on Truth Social that they could rot in hell. Where did I put that? It's somewhere down here. And the Biden-Harris campaign even tweeted this out on tweet. I mean, X said Trump operative echoing Project 2025. A revolution is coming. I want it to be a right-wing revolution. I think that all the institutions are about to be challenged. It's coming. You could feel it in the air. Something is coming. The revolutionary spirit, which is good. I've said that. I've said that the bar is going to be shaken to its foundations, if not totally done away with. It's definitely going to be reconstituted. The legal profession, the healthcare profession, the teaching profession. It's all going to be reconstituted to get rid of this misrepresentation, slanders, libel, this subversion of the Constitution. Anybody pushing to do away with the electoral college system is actively undermining the Constitution. It's in the Constitution to prevent the little blue cities in either coast from lording over all the red states in the middle, okay? The ones who believe that the global warming is going to destroy us all. And they put on the ballot, should we outlaw harvesting rainwater? Yes, I agree. We got to conserve our rainwater. All these millions of people in little blue cities along the coast telling everybody across the country, no rainwater, no backyard chickens. What's next? No cows? An electoral college protects the rights of everybody in every area of the United States. So people pushing to get rid of the electoral college are uneducated. They've been brainwashed to think we're a pure democracy. That is institutionalized in colleges. And that cannot be. You can't have somebody pass the bar, take an oath as an officer of the court, become an attorney, become a judge with it in their brain that they need to get rid of the electoral college. People that have that notion in their brain should not be in any position of public trust underneath a constitutional republic. That's a fact. There's already an avowed communist as a senator in Georgia, Raphael Warnock. Do you think the people wanted him in there? I was going to have, because of the elections in France and UK, I was going to put on my thumbnail the title of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Rise of the Machines. You know what I'm talking about, right? Rise of the Machines. Hi, Michael. That's right, Roland. He don't need no papers. He don't need no stinking papers. The evidence. How you doing? Says, really? What are you really in about? Let's scroll up here and see. 2030 agenda. Oh, yeah, that's the United Nations 2030. Yeah, nobody says a word about that. Tennessee. Biden got knighted. I can't say it, but I don't doubt it. Biden got knighted. No, he's just not going to be able to even function. Oh, okay. The evidence is picking on trouble. We're using a Sharpie. Yeah, welcome aboard, the evidence. But that's a good example, actually. Are you talking about the hurricane map? I don't tell people a lot about me, but I've been involved with government printings and paperwork and maps and stuff like that. And you draw on them all the time. You take notes and you draw them all the time. So I guess he's making fun of Trump and the Sharpie when the hurricane was coming through, and he said it could go this way, and he drew arrows straight out, showing that it could go straight into New Orleans. And oh my God, he defaced the government document. And a lot of the lefties, I'm not talking specifically about you, the evidence, but we're latching on to crap like that, saying Trump. And that was after Nancy Pelosi tore up the House's official copy of Trump's speech. Unreal how one-sided it is. But I tell you, a lot of the people that are bashing Trump couldn't shine his shoes. These people on the news organizations and these lawyers, Kirshner, what I call him, Kojak Kirshner, puts out just a drumbeat of misrepresentation. I look for people like that to have their law license in jeopardy for slander, libel, misrepresentation, using their positions as officers of the court to spread propaganda. I look for them losing law licenses myself. Well, Kim, science is not set in stone; it's constantly changing. Our knowledge of it is changing. I think there are physics and natural law and facts of life are things we're learning, and we change as we learn, right? And like they used to think, you were taught this in grade school, that over in Europe, they what did they call it? They called it spontaneous. Remember the story we were told? The air quote scientists, like way back in the day, 1600s or something. Spontaneous generation. Remember that? If you piled up rags in the corner and then picked the rags up after a month, rats would spontaneously generate underneath the pile of rags. And they believed that, and that was the science of the day. And we learned, no, that's not the case. There's no such thing as spontaneous generation. So we learn as we go. I think the laws of physics are inalterable. You split an atom and you get a boom. You touch a stove, you get burned. But our knowledge is not written in stone. And the evidence is talking about Trump. Trump is not set in stone. Nobody is set in stone. We all evolve. We all grow. Trump was a Democrat. Ronald Reagan was a Democrat. I have a movie of Reagan. I think it was with Errol Flynn, of all things. No, that was I had two movies. One of them, though, Reagan was in an army uniform and they were putting on a play. And this was in the 1940s when the movie was made. And Reagan was producing a musical by the Army Entertainment Division. And he's producing the movie, and he goes up to some of the dancers and singers and he says, I don't want to make you guys nervous, but the president of the United States is in the balcony over there watching us, so we got to really do good. And the camera panned over to the balcony, and you see a silhouette of somebody with a long cigarette holder looking just like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And it was so amazing to watch that, because Reagan was a young man in the 40s. And of course, that's what he did when he was in the Army, entertaining the troops and stuff like that, doing movie productions and things. And there he was. He had no idea that 40 years later, he would be the actual president of the United States. That's just a little bit of history. So no one is set in stone. And he voted for Roosevelt. Reagan did. Did you all know that? I know a lot of you are my age or thereabouts. No, if he's not being rude, and saying what he wants, let him say what he wants. Not using foul language. I mean, we're not going to be in a. Don't get me started. I'm going through the chats here. If you all can't exist with somebody, what is so getting everybody worked up about Trump is not set in stone? I say the same thing about Trump. Oh my God, let's block him. Really? Not. How come people voted against him? Let's all get our drawers tangled up over this. I'd rather he listened to my little story about Ronald Reagan. That's right, Jason. It's not about Democrat and Republican. We're learning that. It's about leftism. It's about Marxism. Lori, Reagan wasn't a leftist. That's why he got out of it. Well, he might have been a troll, Roland, but it doesn't bother me. Did you ever watch, and I would suggest this to the evidence, to watch what's his name? The guy who writes for Dilbert, Scott Adams. Watch Scott Adams some mornings when you feel like listening to a discussion. He's on every morning at, I think, 10 o'clock Washington time. And not his whole, but he's got a lot of people like that. That say bad, Trump is whatever, doesn't like Trump, or they really like Trump, and he'll get on people and warn them if they get nasty. If they get nasty and use foul language or all caps and stuff like that. Well, the evidence, I want to ask you a question. And when I engage directly with people, I ask a certain thing. I ask that they don't type while I'm talking directly to them. Because they can't listen to me and absorb what I'm saying while they're typing in a keyboard. And I found out in life, not to talk with people who talk over you. Don't do that, because they can't listen to you while their mouth is going. And doing the typing while I'm talking is the equivalent. So I ask that while I'm engaging with people not to type until I respond to what they're saying and then ask their response to what I'm saying. So that's a pretty reasonable rule. So I'm going to respond to you, the evidence. You said it's about, see, now you put in MAGA. It's not my fault, but the rhythm doesn't like that. So you put M4G4. Use 4s for A's and 3 for E's on touchy words. Like Tank could put 3 ELETION. That's not that big a deal, Tank. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the evidence. What they did on our country, you're talking about the J and then 6. See, I can't put them together or they'll flag my broadcast. That's the first time somebody tried to take over the country without even bringing a firearm. Not one person. Somebody got arrested about a mile away that had a GUN. See how I have to spell that out? I can't say it. And he was a former Capitol Police officer. And they tried to tie it into the people actually at the Capitol. So nobody had any weaponry. They're destroying or trying to destroy the videos of who was actually tearing things up. And evidence, I want to tell you, that's what we're missing, is evidence of what you're saying. They did. Who is they? Lindsey Graham said he wanted to see them get a bullet in the back of the head, the ones that did it. Because a lot of people in this conversation realize, and right after it happened, I saw the videos of people changing into red hats and taking brand new flags out of bags. They were operatives, and they were leftist operatives. Some of them were FBI operatives. We're finding that out. And there was a concerted group that put on a theatrical performance. Many of them were violent. I have shown in my past videos where some of them have been to Ukraine and back. Some of them have been over to training camps in Syria and came back and were at the Capitol breaking windows and doing things. They were not MAGA. They were operatives. And you'll find that out to be true evidence. And have you heard that before? And how come they destroyed the videos and the testimony with the committee? So it was Trump supporters that went to Syria to camps, and Trump supporters that went to Ukraine as mercenaries, and Trump supporters that had Antifa flyers and propaganda on them. John Sullivan, do you remember that name? Do you remember the name John Sullivan, the evidence? Please let me know if you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, I'll tell you. Some people in chats may not know who John Sullivan is. This is really important. Debbie knows. And I'll explain it. Well, just to see if the evidence, I'm asking you a direct question. And don't goggle it, evidence. Just please, this is time ticking by. I call it our precious time. Your time is precious. My time is precious. Just tell me if you do or don't. Don't goggle it. Wanda knows. The Peaceful Garden knows. Diane knows. Not John Solomon. John Solomon, I'm talking John Sullivan, and the question is to the evidence. Do you know who I'm talking about? Yes or no? If you're not going to participate in this conversation like an adult, I can take care of this. Do you know who John Sullivan is? Yes or no? Do not goggle it. Because if you don't want to answer the question, you'll be out of here. I don't need to play. It's precious time. It's easy. Do you know who I'm talking about or not? Jerry says yes. Raven says no. I'll explain who it is. I just want to hear from this individual who's making these repeating libel, repeating slander. In my past videos, I had up libeling the masses. Okay. There were hundreds of thousands of people there. And what we're dealing with is somebody here who is repeating, and I'm not saying anything bad about this person, but they're repeating libel. And I'm pointing out to them how they're not correct. So this person doesn't want to answer. I'm going to give him Give him about a minute. If I don't see anything out of there, then we just won't have to worry about him anymore. And I'll tell you all who John Sullivan is. Jerry said fraud. Yeah. Use a 4 next time, Jerry, for the A. And it's not anything we can do about it. It's the way the rhythm works. Allie says, I know who Jaden X is. Yeah, that's right, Allie. You're advanced. Roland knows. So we get a couple of no's, and I'm sure there are people out there listening that don't know. Maybe you're listening to these broadcasts for the first time and don't know. He's in jail. I'll give you a hint. He's in jail. Hi, Stephanie. Yeah, Mr. T. So early into our little back and forth, apparently he's either using the restroom or has declined to participate. Straight up troll. Yeah, Roland. It appears that way. You know, he could redeem himself by answering fairly soon. Tracy said, I only know who Ross Perot is. So anyway, John Solomon, I can see where you, Diane, where you would think of that name. He's a good reporter. He's somebody evidence ought to watch his X account, John Solomon. And he would not be, Jerry, you voted for Ross. That gave us Clinton. Holy cow, man. Wait a minute. Miss Mendersue. I said, I'm not tired of winning yet. You? Stop by, buy me a coffee. I appreciate it, Miss Mendersue. Thank you so much. Could you put some booms in there? Boom, 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 boom. For Miss Mendersue, the Peace Garden. How are you doing? I didn't see you. The Peaceful Garden. Okay. She said yes, too. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, unless he chimes in while I'm talking, I'm going to go back up there and get rid of him for being a malcontent. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. The Ravens for being a malcontent and a poop stirrer. And not somebody who wants to have a serious conversation. But John Sullivan is a young man who was given $80,000. They were made a deal in advance to get footage of what was happening inside the Capitol building. What did he do? Once he got in the building, he changed into a Trump hat. He incited the crowd. He was there when Ashley B.A.B. bit was S-H-O-T, right? And he got his $80,000. He gave interviews, but they found the pictures of him changing his clothes out and then changing back. He was an instigator, and he was not a Trump supporter. And he's in jail right now. I forgot how many years he got. Now, there you are typing while I'm talking, and I'm saying who John Sullivan is. You refuse to follow the rules. Well, you're in my house. This is my broadcast. And if you don't want to believe the truth, you're in my living room. And somebody comes to my living room and can't be civil. What I do is get them by the back of their neck and throw them out. That's if they're physically in my home. They get their nose twisted. But since this is electronic, what are you talking about? Yes, he is still to this day. This is an American flag. John Sullivan was a anti-Trump agitator who changed his clothes to look like a Trump supporter and instigated the crowd. Got convicted and put in jail. Okay. All right. Let me see. You've been given enough chances. Goodbye. So he's history. And what do you have? He had a goat head for his, well, there are dozens of people who were identified to be members of Antivisal, BLM, that were changing out their clothes. And well, I've seen the videos of it, and breaking windows and stirring up the crowd. And so we get the people like The Evidence who run around and spread the slander just like the mainstream media, because we know that many of these big name individuals that are pushing this stuff with the media are going to end up in jail for, yeah, see, Ravens, what I did was I gave them an opportunity to have a conversation, and an adult conversation. And I gave him history about how people change, how Reagan was a Democrat and he voted for Franklin Roosevelt, who changed the nation in many ways, just the Social Security system itself changed our culture and our government in many ways. And Reagan was for that. And later on, when it started getting out of hand with Johnson's Great Society, when they were handing out benefits like bags of popcorn for votes, he changed his mind because it was destroying the American family. And we're seeing the evidence of that today. So anyway, no, I don't know the person personally. I just know that he's on my broadcast and he's doing what he wants to do and not wanting to engage in an adult conversation. Thank you, Peaceful Garden. That's what I've been doing ever since the first day I started broadcasting. Because I can always preach to the choir, right? And I love talking to you all. But a lot of times, even within our community, there's 4 or 5 different opinions on different issues. Like I've cautioned people to not go too hard on people like Jeff Sessions, on people like Mike Pence, people like Chris with the FBI. Holy cow, what am I talking about? Help me out, folks. Who's the head of the FBI? Chris Miller was Department of Defense. He praised Pence for helping out in the largest military operation. And that's a thing that people like Evidence are not going to. Chris Ray, right? Thank you, Miss Minister. Chris Ray, because we have patriots installed in high places, and they have to play a game. They got to rope these people in. They got to gather evidence. You can't get people because you think they're going to do something. You suspect they're going to do something. You got to get them when they do it. And Chris Ray, even Merrick Garland, not so much as the others I mentioned. I'm just saying, keep a little sliver of your mind open to the idea that Merrick Garland and people in positions of trusted places, we were told, could do a backflip and at the end of the day have a file as thick as 10 Bibles with a ribbon on it saying, here's all the evidence on all of them. I was there. The papers crossed my desk. They told me this with their own mouths. I have the videos of them doing it. You never know. Wouldn't that be a kick in the head for them? But people like evidence aren't going to hear so many of the things that we know about that we're proven right on over and over again, like Joe losing his mind. He's lost it. He already has lost it. He's been running on fumes. He's been running on shots in the rear end that are helpful. But after a certain amount of time with dementia, they don't work anymore. And just like Reagan, very late in life, and 10 years after his diagnosis, he succumbed. He was in his 90s. Now, Roland, I understand. But if you want to get in on the inside, you got to play the role. Can you imagine? Because, you know, folks, if we're going to take seriously what we're talking about the intrigue, about what's at stake, about what the punishments are going to be for the people that are guilty of certain things, if we're going to really believe that, then you got to realize how dangerous it is. If you were somebody like Christopher Wray and you were gathering evidence for patriots, preventing things from going way overboard, and how dangerous that would be. Because we're all in danger. I mean, the entire civilization is in danger. Right? So you better be playing a good role. I've always talked about Donnie Brasco, the FBI agent who infiltrated the mob. They did a movie on it called Donnie Brasco. If they had discovered him, they wouldn't have thought that quick he'd been gone. And that's something as compared to this petty as the Brooklyn mob. Imagine what we're with the stakes we're dealing with now. And we know people have lost their lives. So if you're still out there, evidence, you can open up another account, change your name, come in, identify yourself, just say, hey, we'll try again. Let's have some conversations. The people in the chats were nice to you. They do get aggravated a little bit, but still, you were treated nicely. And anybody listening that may want to join the conversation and say, what are you talking about? People losing their lives. What are you talking about? Operatives. What are you talking about? A lot of us in the chats knew about Epstein years, 5 years, half a decade before anybody in the general public ever knew about Epstein. Many of us knew about Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, when he fell off the back, air quotes, fell off the back of his yacht back in the day, and he worked for MI6. We knew that. And Ghislaine Maxwell's his daughter, and she was Epstein's right-hand man. So what do people who think in simplistic terms that Trump is a poopy pants and all the Democrats are honest, people like Biden are just working for the country, and Nancy Pelosi and all these people who have been around for half a century are the good people, and a guy comes in like Trump for 48 months into politics as president is the evil one? Why do we not buy that? Because we know, we've been following it. We knew who was involved with JFK, not exactly down to the very person who pulled the trigger, but we knew that he was killed by operatives in our own government working with foreign governments. And RFK Jr. said he was going to release all the 911 stuff. Has people like Evidence ever heard? What a name, Evidence. What evidence? Didn't you see Building 7 standing when a reporter said it had already fell? And it fell 20 minutes after they reported it fell? That doesn't make your antennas go up? And when Trump was on his golf course while they were raiding Mar-a-Lago, he told a reporter, we need to get to the bottom of 9/11. They haven't done that yet. So this 48-month person coming into government with things like 9/11, things like Waco, things like Ruby Ridge, things like the Kennedy assassination, both of them. All these things happening, and just about all the players attacking Trump have been in there for half a century, 40 years, 30, 40, 50 frickin' years. They're the good ones, and the 48-month man is the one we need to attack. Change your name. You have no evidence, okay? You're believing and repeating a pack of damn lies, okay? From very skilled and practiced operatives in the mainstream media, which is owned by Marxist forces and foreign influence. And until you understand that, you're going to spend your life attacking people who are trying to help. It is very sad, Tank. It's very sad. That's right, Jerry Lee. Rituals is a word. Yeah. Use the one next time for I. And just the fact that we have to play this game with numbers for letters, where we can't even use language that is not foul, offensive, just regular language, because they want to monitor our subject matter. And then put up this is America, put up an American flag when I have to sit here and talk Swahili. Wanda, your doubting husband, I hope he's not doubting anymore. You just got to be gentle with him, don't you, Wanda? You got to kind of ease it in there. But I found that's a good way to do it. The 48-month man is the one we're supposed to attack, and all the half-century criminals worth millions and do nothing. And put us through all these wars, all this economic strife, all this playing games with immigration, everything, all of it. They're the good ones. Or, what I heard, some of these trolls, not that Evidence was a troll. He could have, really had a point of view. I don't know. He just wouldn't talk like an adult. They get like 25 or 35 cents per chat they put in. So maybe that's why he didn't want to answer or be quiet while I was talking. I don't know. He could go somewhere else and put in 50 chats and get whatever in 20 minutes and move to the next one. I don't know. Yeah, Ian, I tend to agree with you there. Bush Jr., he met with Mr. T at the White House after Senior's funeral. So anyway, what is Viktor Orban going to do? What is Zelensky going to do? Putin put out a speech that he's very interested in what plan Mr. T has. He's not saying he wants to do it. He says he's interested. Zelensky says he's interested. Orban says he's going to have a surprise. They're saying Biden. Two news sources are saying he'll be out by the end of the week. I don't think they can get him out by tomorrow. You know, I don't want anything, something could happen. He's elderly. And, but I discussed how Project 2025 was going to be a problem, that they are working on it to diminish and slander the MAGA movement, and that's coming to fruition. We also have a news exclusive. President Biden's physician met with Parkinson's disease specialists at the White House. That's how they're going to try to cover their rear ends, the press, by saying, oh, he came down with Parkinson's. When the reality is, for 4 years, they all knew his brain was gone. They all knew he was a puppet. They all know somebody else is running this country besides Biden. He's incapable of doing it. He has been incapable of doing it. And they have been lying to us. And people like evidence, so-called evidence, fall for it, hook, line, sinker. And remember the 12-year-old sticking his arms out and pretending he's airplane while you're trying to talk to him. That's the way they behave. Faith. Who's Faith? Let's see. Hello, Faith. Your voicemail was full when I called. I don't see a Faith. And I've never seen your name before, Benjamin. Are you in the right conversation? Happy Sunday to you. I'm still wondering who Faith is. Hastert was your wrestling coach, Jerry. How much did he give you? Oh, Peaceful Garden is Faith. Okay. All right. Well, we just had one in here. We had to figure out, Benjamin, and we want to make sure you're all good to go. So that's good to know. Welcome aboard. So anyway, what was I talking about? Patterns of deceit. We're seeing how these patterns come out. And years ago, I showed Nancy Pelosi, okay, using the wrap-up smear. And I'll play that video one day again. And Project 2025 is a 900-page where they report and claim a bunch of pseudo-violent things and then tie it in. Like Trump is saying he's going to deport do the largest deportation in history, they'll write in there something that would make the average Joe and Jane Smith think they're, oh, what a horrible thing to do with jack boots up to your knees and billy clubs, cleaning houses out, pulling kids out of cradles. That's the way they'll type it up. Rhinos. And then Mr. T put out this truth. These are the, quote, ladies that are weaponizing our elections and dividing our country. They must be stopped. He's citing an article from America Greatness, and we have discussed this very thing. And don't you like it when we discuss something and then Mr. T puts it up? Wanda said it. He must be watching the show. Remember that, Wanda? But anyway, he's talking about Susan Rice, all right? And who's the Obama era's sister circle, all right? Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett's the other one, right? And there's one more. It could be Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett, and probably Michelle. Yeah, the wrap-up smear. So he brought that up. And also, how many times have I mentioned Mr. Sweaty Man? Weissman, Andrew Weissman. I said, keep an eye on him. He's a turd in a punch bowl. He's a snake in the grass. And was behind the Mueller investigation. I played videos of him. I think President Trump has been a danger to democracy. What does Mr. T put out today? This bum is running the DOJ. The Federalist. Does Mueller's lead prosecutor have a history of ethics violations? These facts raise serious concerns about Andrew Weissman's continued service on Robert Mueller's team and justify delving further into his career. That came out today. We've been talking about Weissman for months. These are shadow names, names the general public don't know are Marxist and communist operatives who've been undermining Trump's presidency from the very beginning. We know from Mr. T that Garland, he said Lisa Monaco runs Garland. Number 3 is the Coangelo guy who left his job as number 3 to go assist Alvin Bragg in the phony prosecution of Mr. T. So there you have 3 of the top people in the Justice Department. Now Trump just put it out there. Who is running them all is Andrew Weissman. He's been doing it since the first impeachment and before. So he is going to get chiropracted, okay? Quick drop chiropractic. And what they're doing, especially this Project 2025, and the entire media together, claiming Trump is going to get revenge. He's going to be a dictator. Remember, the things that are going to require the harshest punishments are things that are going to be handled through the military justice system. When the Nuremberg trials happened, when the Tokyo trials happened, all these things that happened, you did not see Harry Truman anywhere. You did not see J. Edgar Hoover anywhere conducting the prosecution. You didn't see Franklin Delano Roosevelt anywhere. The politicians were out of it. It was strictly held by the military. And I said, the doctrine of clean hands, Trump is not going to be the one. This is a military operation. We're a nation at war. It's been said several times. And Mike Johnson himself even said it. I'll have to get that video clip. It's just a short clip. He said, we're at war. Speaker of the House said that. Keep in mind, Speaker of the House is third in line. If something happens with Joe, and if something happens with Kamala's eligibility, just like they were saying Obama could serve as vice president, but not as president, there may be a loophole that Kamala could serve as vice president, but technically not as president. Whatever happens, you could see a Mike Johnson scenario where Mike Johnson nominates Mr. T to be VP, just like Nixon nominated Gerald Ford to be VP after Spiro Agnew resigned. And then he could step down, Mike Johnson. You don't know. There are many scenarios, many ways to use the chessboard. But then again, you could also see what that young reporter was saying out of France, that they steal the election or do something heinous and make a brutal attempt to stay in power, overt, like Zelensky canceling the elections, and remain in power where the majority of the world population will see it's illegitimate, and that is what will wake people up. And folks, sad to say, that scenario is more in line with the concept of a precipice than anything else we've discussed. That the stakes are so high, they can't afford to play little chess games with Mike Johnson and nominating Trump or Kamala this and Joe. No, they'll hang on to it with their fingernails scratching right down the sides of the tree. I mean, they will claw, bite, do whatever it takes. Valerie Jarrett, right, Roland? Loretta Lynch, yeah, okay, Tank. Got it. Said Lynchpin. Loretta Lynch, Valerie Jarrett, and who was the other one? Sewing Circle. Susan Rice. Yeah. Rice, Jarrett, Lynch. And Trump did say these are the ladies, so I couldn't throw Mike in there. I didn't realize that. So anyway, folks, gosh, this is one of my longest broadcasts. I appreciate you all's patience. And we did have fun speaking with whatever that guy's name, Evidence, whatever evidence he had in his own brain. If you're coming into the conversation late, you might want to go back to the beginning and watch it. It was a pretty good broadcast. And I'll see what I can do. Maybe change my thumbnail so it will not cause problems. And I want to thank Miss Mendersue for stopping by Buy Me a Coffee to help sponsor the program. And if you think about it on your way out, give me a thumbs up. It helps the video to get around. I forgot again to mention the thumbs up. I should mention at the beginning, in the middle, somewhere. I forget. But anyway, It helps me get the video out. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And evidence, if you're still out there, the next time you're lucky enough to have a creator engage with you with respect and spend some time with you, you should think about valuing that and acting a little bit more adult and having a productive conversation. Because if you go through your life the way you went through this chat, you're not going to get very far without the help of a Marxist government. Okay, folks, you all have a great evening. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.